Hello, everyone. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV with a special guest, West Ham United YouTube sensation, Mr. Nick Clinton. You know who he is from Claret and Booze. Hope everyone is all well out there. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. It's good weekend so far. I'm drinking though. West Ham have driven me to drink today.
So
I wasn't
am
going to
I.
be drinking this weekend.
This is happy hour.
Yeah. It should be happier than I was feeling earlier. My fucking blood was boiling earlier on when I woke up with a hangover,
Yeah.
and saw that news. So yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Before I get started, please do smash a like on the video. Go and follow Nick on his channel also. Right, subscribe to Claret and Booze. And also, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it quite loud and clear tonight. Any fucker who comes into this chat and wants to give us any grief, they're getting buttered and banned and chucked out the door straight away. I'm not in the mood for any wankers tonight. So do try your luck. And if you do, I will ban you for the remainder of this show. So there you go. Sensible discussion tonight. Nick, let's talk about the latest news, mate. Brownhill coming to West Ham.
It's all Brownhill from now, mate. That's the that's the headline. That's a headline as a taken from one of the comments in the chat from the video that I did earlier on. But yeah, look, there's a bit of a mixed reception. I'm amazed at some of the comments that I've seen. I got attacked by someone, which I don't mind, but I find it quite amusing that one of them where, what are you talking about? You know, why don't you go and support Millwall? Fucking hell. I can't believe how people are actually, after what we've been through the last 3 years, and that people can be happy with that. I can't wrap my head around it at all. It's a piss take.
It is really, mate. Honestly, I've never known nothing like it in all my life. And do you know what? I'm going to say this quite openly. Sullivan's fucking laughing. He's laughing.
Yeah,
he's laughing at us all because he's going, you know what? This fan base will accept any shit now. Do you know what I mean? And I don't get where the standard's gone, Nick. Like, if you could tell me where the standard's gone from, we're signing people like Paqueta, Kudus, like
Skamaka, all these players. Yeah.
And now we're going for these bootleg players that, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, where's the standard gone, Nick?
Well, I did make a little bit of I sort of made a bit of a prediction looking at what Potter's done before, who he's worked with, how he struggled at Chelsea with big egos, and what his preference is. And I did say I think that we're going to have to downgrade our squad to suit this manager. So smaller players. I know he had big players at Brighton, but they was there before they had their big move. They was kind of Tony Bloom found Casiado, found McAllister, found all these players. But the second they got too big for their boots, he was only too happy to sort of cash in on them. Do you know what I mean? Get rid of them, get them out the door. I don't want to be a selling club. I really don't want West Ham to be that. We can't, after 10 years of being in this stadium, a decade, aspire to be what Brighton were, or a poor version, because that's what it's going to be. We ain't got Tony Bloom. Poor version of what Brighton were 5 years ago. That is not good enough for me.
Yeah,
not at all.
Yeah. I completely agree with you on that. And we're always going to be bigger than Brighton. That's the problem. Like, and I think people want us to be like Brighton. I can't keep selling a player every year to balance the books when you've got an owner who is the 16th richest owner in world football, the 4th richest owner in the Premier League, and the 7th on the PSR. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. I've got to get to this quickly, Nick. Thank you very much, Dead Fallout. A few questions here, Nick. How many central midfielders do we have, or how many we're going to keep? How many do you realistically think we will move on? Is he a starter? Is Brownhill a starter? And we're at least space for a starter signing the position. And where will that leave Potts? That's the big question for me, Nick, is where does it leave Potts for you?
Pushes him further back.
100%.
That's what it does. And with regards to the other elements of the question, you know what? How do you get rid of? Well, it's how do you get rid of them? You've got James Ward-Prowse on 120 grand a week. It ain't just a case of us saying, "Oh, we're going to sell James Ward-Prowse." We could say, "Oh, we'll sell him for $2 million," but somebody's got to pick his wages up. He ain't taking a pay cut. Souček will want 100 grand a week if he moves on. He's 30 years old now, right? Souček's the best of the lot of them, but he's still getting older. And for what he does. You know, most clubs haven't got a reliance on their central midfield to score goals. Their forward players do it. Yeah. So there's only certain types of teams that are going to be going in for Souček. There will be more of a market for him than others. James Ward-Prowse will struggle. I mean, we fucking loaned him out to Nottingham Forest. They gave him back. Guido, he's another one. He's on 100 grand a week. 100 grand a week. So it's all very well saying we're going to sell these players. Well, where? Where are we going to sell them to? Where are they going to go? Unless what we're going to do is end up trying to loan them out and just get a portion of their wages off the wage bill. I just don't know. But I think we're going to be stuck with a load of average fucking midfielders because the midfield has been the issue for the last 2-3 years, mate. One of the main issues, anyway.
It is, well, especially over the last year, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like, it proved it, like, in so many games last season. Like, and obviously, I don't want to go back to last season because it was probably one of the worst seasons going. Like, since probably Avram Grant season for me. Like, I've never seen West Ham so bad and just flat, boring, dead, and going nowhere. The issue is now is why is our standard and why is it so acceptable just to have anyone in there? That's what I can't work out. I can't listen, whatever you thought of previous managers and what you think of the current day, right now we're signing these players that fucking Burnley. You know what I'm saying? We're not going for lower end, and we've got a quality youth setup. And this is the thing that loses me, Nick, with people. Is they say about investing in the youth. We've got the youth there, but then we're going for a player who's going to probably want to in the region of about 80, 90 grand a week, probably.
He will only be coming here for a big payday. That's the only reason he's coming here.
Yeah.
Because he's a captain at Burnley. They're just coming to the Premier League. He's a mainstay. He's guaranteed game time every week. And that's the thing. There is no way that he can have been assured first team football at our place. So he's come for more money to sit on our bench. Now I'm sorry. I know we're a big club. We're bigger than Burnley, but at the moment we're a shit show. And surely the most important thing for a footballer is to play football. You know, it ain't like he's coming to us to win trophies and compete in Europe and stuff like that. That ain't happening again for a long time, especially the way this fucking rebuild looks like it's going to go. Europe is that's going to be a distant memory very soon.
What are we closer to? Relegation or Europe?
Relegation.
Yeah. I completely agree.
Relegation for me. I think that's where we are. Look, it can all change. So throughout this, Gio made a point on his video earlier on. He's not happy with the signing, but as the window goes on, depending on how it shapes up, on who goes out, on who comes in, then you might turn around and look at the Brownhill signing and go, oh, well, look, it ain't that bad as it is because, you know, Souček's gone, James Ward-Prowse is gone, we've got in a couple of young kids, makes sense. I just can't fucking see it. And there's no way that this is anything to do with Potter. We've been linked with Brownhill for 4 years.
So true, that is. So true. Like he was linked under Moyes so many times, and they couldn't get him. And it just feels like it's just a Sullivan signing, isn't it? It's just a typical free transfer. You know what I mean? We appease the fans. Like, I don't understand why people are so accepting of it. But I think what I've noticed, this is me personally,
I think the bar's just been lowered that much, mate. It's been lowered that much.
Like, people are not. How can I put this? People just accept anything now. Because it's like they're craving something back. And what I said on a video earlier on, I said, where's the fucking spirit of West Ham? Like, where's the element of like the class factor where you go, you know what? We should be aiming for top 10. Now, next season, we're aiming to stay in the league by the looks of it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, that's the only reason that we would be going for players of this profile. Because I know, look, if you look at his stats from last year, attacking stats, they're quite impressive. 16 goals, 6 assists. This is in a very, very dominant Burnley team. I think they only conceded about fucking 14 goals all year or something stupid like that. A very dominant team. And it just suited him the way they was playing. I'm pretty certain if you put Thomas Souček in that team, he scores 30 goals. Don't forget, Josh Cullen is in the same midfield. He looks like fucking Pirlo.
True.
So this is what I'm saying to you. We have to understand and accept there is a big golfing class. I know people will turn around and say, oh, well, we got Bowen from the Championship. We got Somerville from the Championship. We've got Cresswell. We've got Antonio. I get it. But Brownhill's not an unknown entity. He's already had 100 games in the Premier League. What's his stats, James? For those
6 goals, 6 assists in 111 Premier League games.
There you go. Average is shit.
Do you know what I'm saying? And like, we're supposed to accept this. Like, it's just mad. It's just mad. Obviously, we have to wait and see what happens with Brownhill. What do you make of Mohamed Kudus, mate? Because I'm going to be straight, letting him go. I think he's like, because we're skint basically.
Yeah, we're letting him go. Yeah, I think that this is just a sign of the times. I think players like Kudus were obviously duped into coming to West Ham by Tim with his very good fucking way of selling the club and the dream. I'm sure there was a dream when Tim was doing this. I'm sure he did have a plan.
Yeah.
But he was selling this, obviously, this idea which hasn't come to fruition. And these are top level players that are ambitious, and they're not going to be happy competing at the bottom of the fucking league for an unambitious team. I don't blame the players. He's not greedy. He could go to Saudi for 400 grand a week, tax free. He don't want to. He just wants to play in the Premier League, but for a club that are going to compete. And the issue that we've got is this is what we're looking at, Brownhill, for the type of profile of club that we have now become very rapidly since our exit from Europe. That's where we are. Because how do you convince these people to come? It's all very well as saying, you know, maybe go out. We wanted Gomez. Gomez is going Marseille. Gomez spoke to Potter twice on the phone. Apparently, he's not coming. We can't attract these players. This is where we are. Years of fucking neglect. We had a foundation after Europe. You know, with the horrible season that Moyes had, but then he won that trophy. You know, when you look at what Spurs have just done, where Ange won the trophy, won the Europa. They're in the Champions League next year. The next manager that comes in, be that Thomas Frank, although it's going to be Silva, when they come in, they've got European football next year. They've got a load of money. They've got a platform to go again. That's where it went wrong, you know, for us. And that isn't for us as fans to bicker about. Like you to say we've got to keep him, me to say he's got to go. That's for the owners of the club who are charged with doing the right thing for West Ham.
I agree. I do agree with you on
that. It's for them to decide, to go, no, look, he struggled for 18 months. We've got away with one here. We've won the trophy. We're in Europe next year. Now we've got to push the button. We've got to go and maybe try and do something else. But we missed the window of opportunity. We've run it into the ground and look at us now. We're fucked.
I do agree with you on that. For me, there's letting him go, but you've got to get it right. And the ownership of this club just can't be trusted anymore. It just it can't be trusted.
They left it too long. I think.
Yeah.
I think, you know, they really did. Even if, see, it weren't right. Really, it wasn't. When you look at, see, you couldn't, after winning the trophy, you couldn't then sack him. You couldn't sack him. Not the next season. So you had to let him run the full year. But what could have happened is it could have been a golden handshake, James, and it could have been David Moyes has decided to walk away. It could have been behind closed doors, done it a bit classy, and said, "Look, Dave, you've done a great job. Take 5 million. Well done, mate. Off you go. You go out in the press and say that you've decided to move on." That's how it could have been done, you know. And then there's no problem. There's no problem then. And then David Moyes does bail out a bit of more of a hero than what he is now because of how the last year fucking went, which was wrong again. So he had a bit of a legacy. You know, I weren't his biggest fan.
Yeah.
I weren't.
That's fine. Yeah.
But winning that trophy, that previous the season got wiped out. All of a sudden, he's a hero. That was a time for him to go. That was a time for us to move on. And we've had loads of sliding doors moments like that. If you go back to 15-16, when we had the Payet team, the brilliant team in Upton Park, all he had to do when we moved into that stadium was add, 2, 3, maybe 4 quality players. What did he do? Diluted it with absolute shit.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Every time we get a chance to move on, mate.
The thing is with Sullivan, because I could speak all night about that man, but
yeah,
it's just when it comes to him and last season, and obviously picking Lopetegui, you can go and pick anyone in the world, and you go and pick Julian Lopetegui, and it's like, you know that what you're going to get with him, you're going to get a cheap manager. We've discussed it before. We're always going to go for a manager under Sullivan's reign who needs a job.
Yeah,
but Sullivan wants to be that controlling, that he's the main man, and you have to bow down to him. It just, for argument's sake, and I'll ask this to the chat: if we was to go out and get a high-end, top-end manager, say like off the top of my head, Simeone, right? Just off the top of my head, Simeone becomes more powerful than Sullivan. Yeah, and people are all together with the manager, and the ownership ain't got the full control. And that's where the problem is. Like the owner.
That's why we go for broken managers that are grateful. They're grateful for a job. That's it. That's because if we could go out and get. Listen, we know we're a big club. We are. You go out and you Marco Silva, for instance, even in this window, if you don't go to Spurs, right? Because Spurs is obviously now a much more attractive proposition than us. But if we was to say they get Thomas Frank, Marco Silva's still there. You know, Fulham are not in Europe. They're not, are they? They're not in Europe at all. You go and pull Marco Silva in and say, right, you've got full control. Get a director of football. You know, we'll get a director of football in, but, you know, you're going to have an influence in it. £200 million rebuild. It's yours. I won't interfere. He's taking that job. But
True.
the issue is that's never going to be the case. It's not. And you know something? I do think that that's the reason that David Moyes went in the end. The reason he weren't renewed because he was always safe. I mean, we had one wobbly season with him where we could have gone down, but we know that Sullivan's only concern is existing in the Premier League. The main reason that I do believe that Sullivan got rid of Moyes was because Moyes had that veto in his contracts where he could say no to Sullivan signings, and I don't think Sullivan liked it. I think it grew too powerful at that point. So that's why I don't think that. Well, I know Moyes was never ever going to have his contract renewed because Sullivan won't. He won't have it. You know, he won't. The whole situation's fucked. I can't stand that little cunt. Call him a cunt. Yeah, no. But I can't stand him, mate. Honestly, I really can't. And him and Brady, it's just gone far too far now for me. You know, the sad thing is we're not getting as much traction as what we thought we'd get on a petition. That's another sign that West Ham, the fan base, is just becoming apathetic, is dying, because that isn't a Claret and Booze petition. That's a West Ham petition.
Yeah,
that's for all the fans to get Brady and Sullivan out. You know, we're not even at 4,000. And do you know what the sad thing is? If next season starts how I anticipate it will start, give it 5 games, everyone will be jumping on it, everyone will be signing it. But then that just makes us look reactionary. It makes it look meaningless. Then
completely agree.
Makes us look fickle. That's what you know. Yeah, and that's what'll happen.
I completely fucking agree with you on that. Absolutely 1,000%. And that's the sad thing about it. Like, I done a video the other day, amount of comments of that sort of people jumped in and said, like, I left 3 years ago. I left after Upton Park. I left like 2 years ago. I had one comment with a geezer saying about he won't take his sons there because he can't afford it, because it's obviously with the concessions and things like that over the last 18 months. Basically, honestly, mate, I do not understand it, but then I do, because he's got full control of the situation. Do you know what I'm saying? He's got full control of everyone in that ground, and he pulls what it is with Sullivan with me is he pulls the fucking wall over everyone's eyes, and some people can
a lot of fans. It happens.
Yeah, and people can see through it. Some people can see through it, and some people are blinded by it, and that's what's the frustrating thing. Like, we are a big club. It proved it after Prague. Like, the moment you go out the next day and you got 250,000 people on the streets of East London, you got 40,000 in Prague. Yeah. That tells me West Ham are not a Mickey Mouse club. We're not small like fucking like Fulham or something. Do you know what I mean? Or Bournemouth. We're actually quite a big club, and I feel like the spirit of West Ham's going, Nick, which is sad, really, if I'm being honest. Like,
certainly the match going spirit, and you've only got to look at the stats. So the stats for the since we moved into that stadium, there was, I think they said there was about 52,000 season ticket holders.
Yeah.
29,000 of those people that signed up for the London Stadium no longer go. 29,000. Just coincidentally, the capacity of Upton Park was 35, but there weren't 35,000 season ticket holders. I wonder how close that is, and I wonder what the percentage is of people that went to Upton Park that have just fucked it off now. That have just gone, because, and that's the other reason as well. We saw Burnley. Burnley was powerful. I'm not calling for that thing again, even though that's the only type of language that Sullivan does understand. It really is. But I don't think you'll get that again now, because it's just been gentrified to shit over there, and the appetite's gone. You know, rather than protest now, we've seen strong actions from the fans, like against Arsenal, when the majority of the fans just poured out the fucking stadium on about 50, 60 minutes. But that type of fire that West Ham fans are renowned for, we don't take no shit. Well, we do take shit now. We take shit. You know, we're a walkover now, unfortunately, and that's only because he's managed to He's managed to cleanse that that fan base inside that stadium. That's all it is.
Do you think it's to do with the generations and all, though, Nick?
Could be part of it, yeah.
Like the crossover of generations, because that's what I've noticed when you got fans who didn't really feel Upton Park, or might not have went there as much, like, and gone with the history of it, to some people now who are just like fuming by it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, some of these people are like, you know what, you got to let it go. And then there's people like yourself, myself, who done the Upton Park experience, done it for many, many years, like, and obviously the shit that's gone with that over the years. And this, like, when you look at it, this time next year, I'll be 10 years. 10 years in that ground.
You can't let go of the past when the present is so miserable.
Yeah.
You can't. We're not going to move on. And I personally don't think that we're going to give that stadium a real go, because that is our home now, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
But we're not going to accept it, really, I don't think, until that bloke's gone. Maybe once that bloke's gone, we've got new owners in, because we can't then blame the new owners for moving us to that stadium. It's not their fault. Maybe at that point. But he's only ever going to be, even, and this isn't defending Sullivan, but he's only ever going to be a couple of bad decisions away from everyone turning on him, because there is such hatred, genuine hatred towards that fucker, and there deserves to be. There deserves to be. He's earned every bit of, and he don't like us either. It's two-way. He can't stand us. He's a wanker. Look what he's done with this, with all the build-up to the season ticket renewals. Look at the players that we was being linked with.
True.
And that's no coincidence, right? And then the season ticket renewal is complete, and then all of a sudden it comes out, our first signing is going to be Josh Brownhill. That's him mugging us the fuck off. They didn't even need to announce that now, because apparently Brownhill can't even sign till July.
July 1st, yeah.
He can't even sign till the end of the month. They didn't even need to release that now, but they've released it. Do you know what I mean?
It is shocking, mate. Honestly, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Like, and it's, do you know what? It angers a lot of people. Now, I'm not being funny. I get angry by it. You get angry by it. Many others get angry by it. But it's like people say to me, "Oh, wait, what can we do?" You got to do something. Like, do you know what I'm saying? And anyone who's watching this right now, you got to sign this petition. You got to get that going. But if that petition sort of fades and dies, then it just feels like West Ham, the franchise model has worked for Sullivan in the end.
I'm going to keep on pushing it, because look, like I said, it will catch fire, because I don't want it to go wrong. I want West Ham to do well next year, but because of the way that we've been run historically, I do feel like we're on the edge of a cliff now. And I think that next season we're going to fall off of the fucking thing. So it will gain momentum. It will. It's just that for me, it's going to feel a little bit emptier if it really gains traction once people, I don't know, because like I said to you earlier on, it kind of proves that we're a bit of a fickle fan base then, doesn't it? To a degree, which it's, and do you know what? We never were. You know, we've got values as a fan base. We always have had. But like I've said to you, I think a lot of the old school fans, they're gone. I think they've become apathetic towards it as well. There's also a lot of these people that are on social media at the moment, and there's probably going to be people in the chat. I'm not looking at it for that reason, but there's probably people in the chat saying, "What's supporting the fucking petition? What's that going to do?" Blah blah blah. Tell you what, it's better than doing fuck all, because doing fuck all never achieves anything. So don't ever go at people that are trying to do something. It's as simple as that.
I will say this: the chat's behaving themselves, because they know I'm fucking.
I'm not looking. Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss.
I do agree with you. I had that earlier on. Shout out to Harry. Harry said to me, "James, why? Like, what's the point? What's the point in doing it?" Like, I said, "Well, you got to do something. If you sit back and do nothing, then like you can't moan. Then, do you know what I'm saying? At least, like, I'd rather go down fighting than not fight at all and just get like destroyed. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, you got to have some sort of heart about this. I just feel West Ham, to me, Nick, isn't the same anymore. Like, the franchise model of it has turned now, and basically what it is, and you know, because you've been over there. Like, I know through the boys through E20. They go over there and they're sitting next to a Tottenham fan or an Arsenal fan and a fucking, like, a rival fan. And basically it's become so diluted over there that, you know, no one feels it anymore. And that's how can you build an atmosphere up? And people say, "Oh, you can do it in Europe and shit like that." It needs to be all the time.
Yeah. Look. When you're winning, it can be bearable over there. It can be all right. When you're winning, it's fine. It's not the same as it was before. Losing's miserable as fuck in there. I know that sounds weird, because you might think, "Oh, losing's always miserable." No, there's miserable and there's fucking miserable. Losing there is embarrassing. You've got, you know, the song that really does sting the hearts of most West Ham fans, because it's true. You sold your soul. You sold your soul for this shithole. You fucking did. You know, we really did, and it's most fans of other clubs will all say, you know, Upton Park was a special place. I feel sorry for people that didn't experience it. I feel sorry for those in our fan base. You can't expect them, if this is all they've known, then, you know, they're probably going to be thinking, "Oh, what the fucking hell are they talking about?" You know, If you haven't experienced it, you haven't experienced it. But it was a family club. It was a community over there. People worked together. We've always argued, but ultimately, when it comes to it, people stuck together.
True. Like, listen, I completely agree. Like, years ago, West Ham, there used to be like bickerings with people back in the day. Fucking hell, I remember it back in the day, going to games and people moaning about shit. Yeah, but that's what you do. Like it's a football like situation. You're going to moan about it. But one thing we never done, especially at Upton Park, is turn on each other. Never. Right. No. And I never, ever see it at Upton Park with away fans in the home end. Like, for all the years I went, right, maybe I was blinded by it. I don't know, fuck knows, but I never see like a Arsenal fan in the home end. Like that's a modern day thing. That's like the last 10 years thing.
Yeah.
And you just don't see it. And that's the sad reality of it, that we've become that.
What makes me sick with some of these the new fans that we've got. They've been going for fucking 8 years. They've been going since we've been in that stadium, basically.
Yeah.
And let's have it straight. They've had it fucking easy. There's been no relegations and we've won a European Cup. They've had it fucking easy. All right.
True.
Now, in terms of if they never knew Upton Park before, they was never going to miss it. And then you've got West Ham fans that have been going for 30 years, 40 years, going, I can't do this no more. I'm kicking my season ticket in. You've got people on social media, little wankers, going, you ain't a proper fan. You ain't a proper fan. You know, you're just going good riddance. We give your ticket to someone. They're not even fucking qualified to be talking to that fan.
True.
They're not.
True.
They ain't put the fucking miles in. But this is where we are. Everyone's turning on each other. You have got to. It's a generational thing, and I think it's Upton Park, but it's this move. It's either side of this move. So you've got London Stadium fans and you've got Upton Park fans. That's the way it feels a little bit, to a degree. I know there's hybrids.
What I do think, though, Nick,
crossed over.
What I do think is, if we ever got relegated, these fuckers will soon change their tune.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Well, mate, could you imagine that stadium in the Championship? Seriously.
I wouldn't even like to think about it, mate. Like, I'll tell you what, we'd be lucky if we get 30,000 in there. Like, because no day tripper is going to want to come over and see West Ham in the Championship. No,
I don't think we're going to get many day trippers next year. If we do, and I struggle to accept that they're going to be able to do it, and that is to get rid of all the star players. That's to get rid of your Paquetas, your Caduces, your Alvarezes, all the players that neutrals are likely to want to go and watch, basically. If what you're going to do is fill your team with workman-like players like Josh Brownhill and have Souček in midfield and James Ward, I mean, that midfield, fuck that midfield. Yeah. If that is going to be kind of the core of your team, the engine room, can I ask you something? What other Premier League team of the 17 non-promoted teams would I'll take Souček out of the equation?
Yeah.
I don't think he'd get in many, but he'd get in a few. But James Ward-Prowse and Brownhill, how many teams would they get in?
None.
In the central midfield?
Nah, none. But I look at teams like Wolves. When Wolves have got Andre and the other Brazilian there, memory is gone, but you got two Brazilians in there. I look at who else is there. I think Everton's team, a bit robust maybe, but other than that, I don't see anything else. Do you know what I'm saying? I'll be struggling to see where they would play. And it just seems like they're good enough for us, but they're not. I'm saying, but no other fucker wants them. So
I do think maybe it's an old-fashioned way of looking at football, but I think most teams you're defined by your midfield. It's the engine room of your team. That's the most important part of your team. It really is. Your midfield protects your defence and they provide chances to your attack. And they set the tempo for the game. It's really fucking important. So if you've got a bang average midfield, you are going to be a bang average team, irrespective of whether you've got good strikers or good defenders.
What do you let me rephrase this. What are you expecting next year, Nick? And what would you like to see happen next year?
What would I like to see happen next year? Potter to go before we make any of these signings. us to go and release Marco Silva from Fulham and push on like that. But I think what is going to happen is we're going to stick with Potter. We're going to, this signing is a perfect example. I've already said that he's going to be held up like a sacrificial lamb and blamed for everything that goes wrong. True, he's being held here for that reason. He ain't Sullivan's man. It was made very clear. I think we're gonna make a load of sales. You know, this Aguirre one's typical, right? This shit that's coming out that Aguirre's point blank refused to come back to training. That's come out from the club because they want to sell him, and they like to paint everyone that's leaving West Ham as a scumbag, so that we don't kick off that they've sold Aguirre. That's what it's. I don't believe any of the shit that comes out of that club anymore. I really don't. But no, with I think what is going to happen is that I think they're going to stick with him. They're going to back him to a certain extent. He'll get maybe 1 or 2 players. The other 6 or 7 will be players that Sullivan wants to bring in. He's going to fail because he's going to have no time next year. In his defence, next season, if it is going to be a big rebuild, he will need time anyway because you'll need time for players to gel. He ain't fucking getting it because of the past 6 months. He won't get it. If we start bad and we start slow and we're playing that same drab version of fucking football that we've been watching, the fan base that are in that stadium that have been clinging to the hope that Graham Potter is an attacking manager and it's going to be amazing over there, the realisation will hit and it will flip, mate. It will flip.
I completely agree.
If he don't get off to a flyer, he's fucked. He's gone.
I completely agree with you, mate. It's exactly what I've been calling for a while with a couple of the lads on here. I said he has to start fast next year, Potter, because it could be another situation with Lopetegui, with Potter. I'm not convinced on Potter. The last 4 months, I was like, I need to see something. I've seen nothing. And he's going to... The excuses are going to come. That's the problem. People are going to say, if he starts slow, people are going to be saying, well, you need to give him time.
He ain't got no excuses now, though, I don't think. Not now. Not this time. Lopetegui didn't have any excuses, did he? They all turned on him pretty fucking quick.
True. Right? That's a valid point. I'm not going to lie. But, you know, it's like, when I look at him now, they've got the excuse lined up that, the players need time to gel or time to bed in and, you know, you've got to get used to the philosophy. I'm going to be honest, if it does start slow, we are in trouble, mate. And I definitely think that one of them teams that have come up is going to stay up. I think Leeds
this year they're not going to be they're not going to be like this lot that have just fucking gone down on 23 points.
It's
not going to be like that. It's not going to be like that. But no. For me, I think it's already planned out. You know, I think if Potter does well and he gets through to the summer, I think that's a bonus. I think that's a bonus for Sullivan. But I reckon this is going to be costed in. I reckon there will be a pot of money held back for January, like he did with Pellegrini when, he didn't give him the money in the summer and then Moyes came in. He had money to fucking spend, didn't he? He knew what was going to happen with Pellegrini. I think we're going to be seeing the same again. I think that the thought is at West Ham is going to fuck up. We need to sell these players. We've got to get some money in. They're going to use him as a sacrificial lamb. They'll keep a pot of money behind. And the next manager that comes in will have to be a firefighter. And guess who that's likely to be? Someone like fucking Sean Dyche. And he'll get a load of money.
It's true. I completely agree, mate. Honestly. Me and you don't usually agree very much, Nick, but that's what we fucking do.
And then Dyche will keep us up and everyone will be saying give him a 5-year contract.
It's like rinse and repeat, isn't it? Just every single time at this club. Do you know what I'm saying? Nick, anything you want to ask? Anything on your mind? Anything you want to discuss? I don't
know. It's difficult because I know there's a lot of fans, and I don't want to piss on everyone's chips because it's every West Ham fan's right to. It's your impulse, especially in this sort of window. So the season ends, and it don't matter how bad it was the year before. You kind of want to wipe the slate clean and just look forward and go, right, this time next year, it's going to be fucking good. Like we thought we won the last transfer window, but that transfer window killed me. I haven't got that now. I think we've got some fans that feel like that again. They're not idiots. Their bubble hasn't been burst yet, like mine has. I was an idiot last year. You know, I was a fucking idiot. I jumped completely fully on board with it and thought it was going to be good. But I've kind of, everyone's got a different threshold. They all flip at the same time. I've got no expectations whatsoever next year. And I do feel bad. I feel bad that there's fans out there that want to be positive about this. Of course they do. But, you know, especially if you've just signed, one of the poor fuckers has just renewed your season ticket over there. You don't want to accept that it's going to be miserable. You really don't. So I get it. I do get it, and I don't think anyone's a mug for thinking differently. Put it that way. I think we're all mugs collectively as a fan base at the minute, to be honest. But We're just football fans at the end of the day, you know. It's
true.
It's how it works.
It's true. Like, I can understand the positivity and trying to be positive for the new season, Potter, etc. Everything. I completely agree with you. But then there has to be a bit of realism also, and understanding that, come on, right, we're better than this. I don't want to see West Ham finishing mid-table. I don't want to see West Ham fighting relegation, because I'm going to say this, and Nick will understand what I'm about to say, right? We've experienced relegations. Yeah, I experienced it in 2003 as a 16-year-old lad at Birmingham away in a 2-2 draw, which sent us down. I experienced it under Everett Grant. Some of these people that are sort of being positive have never experienced relegations in their life.
That was at Upton Park as well. Was different. You could go down at Upton Park.
Yeah, and honestly, you don't want to go down to that level, mate. Right? Because if Leeds can go down and beat down, then Leeds are a big club. Trust me. Back in the day, in the early 2000s, when they had some of the real top talent in their ranks,
so it's a one club city, isn't it? They're massive. Yeah.
And I'm going to be straight. You don't ever want to be in that trap door. And listen, Nick does his thing on Claret and Booze. I do my thing on here, right? And we're only speaking from the heart, but we're also speaking from history and all, and through experience. And like, we've witnessed it as people who have followed this club up and down the land. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we know that if this goes wrong, Sullivan will fuck off and leave us in the shit. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
if it took getting relegated to get rid of him, I'll take it though, James.
I think it has to be.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I would, because otherwise all we're going to be listen, the last 3 years in the Premier League has been embarrassing. We've been like a wart on the arse of the Premier League. We've been playing boring, dull football, and we've been struggling. We've been, go back to the European season. It was a 35-game relegation battle. I thought we was going that season when we lost to Newcastle. Fuck, we're going to go here. We've been struggling for a few years now. We have, and it's embarrassing. I don't like being cannon fodder. I don't like just existing. It's not a nice fucking feeling. I don't want this to be us for the foreseeable future. And I think seeing after what's happened, after how we've dropped away from Europe, after how we've just managed to stay in the Premier League last year, based on the fact that the bottom three were so poor, for them to if that is a signal, that sign in Brownhill of what this window is going to be, we're fucked.
True, mate.
We're fucked.
And this is what I said earlier on, funny enough, to someone, I think it was on social media. This is just the beginning. Right? Yeah. And that's the frightening thing. If it would have been at the end of the window and you've got all your pieces in position and you go, right, he's the final one there, you could probably accept it. But I can't accept him being the first one, mate. And then you don't know what you're going to get. Because honestly, nothing surprises me with West Ham, and above all else, nothing surprises me with Sullivan. He will try and find the cheapest option going, and go, right, Graham, you've got to get the best out of him.
But I do think it's divide and conquer. I think he does this for this reason, because if you have a look, so they would have known. They know this fan base by now, right? They know when we've been linked with Brownhill in the past, how divisive it was to fans. So for them to come out now at this stage to release that news when we can't even sign them until the 1st of fucking July anyway. True. That's just them turning the fan base on each other again. It's divide and conquer. They always fucking do it, because you've got a lot of fans, and I'm sorry, with this, we're realists. We're calling it how it is, and you've got some fans that just want to be positive about it. So we all turn on each other. They manipulate us, mate. It's what they do. Yeah. They're doing it on purpose. They it didn't need to be done. Like if they'd have gone out and bought Onyekuru Corey first from Club Bruges, the powerhouse on your dicker. They'd have brought him in first. That's different. That'll lift the fan base a little bit. You think, fuck me, we've got legs in midfield. That's different. Yeah. But no, just fucking Brownhill.
I think AC Milan might come in and take him off our hands, because their midfielder who's going to Manchester City, he's going to be leaving them. And obviously they're in the hunt for a new central midfielder, and Onyedika will be the guy. So, yeah, it's not looking good. Nick, thank you very much for coming on, mate. I really do appreciate it.
That's all right, mate. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Listen, go over and sign that petition that Nick's doing. Trust me.
Yeah, bsout.co.uk. Don't just sign it, share it as well, because I'm not on, James, I'm not on all the platforms. I'm not on TikTok. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on any of those. So it's got to be a fan shared thing. So you've got to sign it, share it on your profiles and everything else. And then if it does grow, we've grown it as a fan base. Do you know what I mean? There's not a big campaign from me to do it. We've done the 24-hour show to kick it off, and then it's down for us as fans to make it grow and push it on. And do you know something? Make a fucking statement, because at least then, if we end up with 20, 30,000 signatures on that, that's something that will be picked up by the media. That is a real statement for those two to go. You know, because the wording on that petition is pretty strong as well. It's pretty clear.
Yeah,
you know, what they've done. So yeah, please do. Don't forget, check your emails and because if you don't, it don't count. Your vote don't count, which I think is what a lot of people have struggled with. But yeah, I did think we'd have more traction from that. It's been a bit disheartening. I've got to be honest.
You got to start somewhere, and
yeah.
Don't stop to the end. At the end of the day, listen,
No.
Go over and sign that petition. Right, Nick's just told you where to find it. Go and do it. If you want to make a change to this club, and you care about this club like I do, and like Nick does, and like everyone else does, right? We need to come together. And I've been saying it for years. We need to come together as West Ham United, and the United needs to stand for something, and it needs to mean something, and that's what we need to do, is come together and get this owner out of this club. Yeah, and I can guarantee it. You get a new owner in, he will listen to the fan base, and basically we can start afresh. So yeah, follow Nick also on Claret and Booze. Smash a like on this video, subscribe to E20 Zone TV, hit notification bell and all that. I'll be back probably Monday now. Listen, Brownhill is on his way. Yeah, great, can't wait. Anyway, from me to you, take care of yourselves, be good, be well, be Claret and Booze. Peace.